We're back at it again. You're listening to Daily Buzz. I'm Joe Messina.
I'm Martha Aguilera.
And we are happy to have Ken Striplin with us here. He's the city manager for the city of Santa Clarita. And Ken, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so let's go with basics here, right? What does the city manager do? And in all honesty, I mean, people don't know, they don't even know what city council people do. I mean, what do you do for the city?
So the city manager, the city is run under what's called a council manager form of government. So the city council is elected by the citizens to provide policy direction, adopt budgets, and things of that nature. Then they hire a city manager, and the city manager is, in effect, the CEO of the organization. So all of the employees report to the city manager, and we're responsible for carrying out the policy directives, the initiatives of the city council.
Oh, all right. So you're the captain of the ship, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay. And then again, when you're setting up these meetings and you're looking at what needs to be done in and around the city, does all that information come from city council members, or does it come from staff that you work together with?
In terms of what gets on the agenda?
Yeah, because people don't know. People think that, as a trustee, I walk and say, hey, I want this, and I want to make sure this happens. It doesn't work that way, though.
No, it doesn't work that way. By and large, what drives what gets on the city council agenda is it comes from our strategic plan. So we do a 5-year strategic plan every year, and that will cover 80% or so of the work effort that we do for the 5 years. So it's identifying what are the major issues that the council wants to be, as a council wants to be addressed, what public facilities the council is looking at, either rehabilitating, constructing new facilities, or even coming up with new programs and services for the community. So it comes from that process, and then, as you know, things come up on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
We're running along, everything's going smoothly, and then, the state of California decides they're going to plop an 8-story courthouse in the middle of the city. So that's the other, portions that come on the agenda, things like that.
Right.
I would love to touch a little bit more on that, because a lot of the parents I'm huge involved with the community, parents, small business. And there is a misconception of what people can and can't do. So you being the city manager, can you please explain to everyone, all of us, what you can and cannot do about what California decides to do in our city?
Yeah, of course, and I appreciate that. That's a great question, and it's really changed over the last 5 to 10 years. 10 years ago, cities had a lot more local control and discretion on land use and a number of other issues. Over the last 10 years, with the change in the legislature, a lot of that control has been moved to Sacramento. So a great example is the courthouse. The courthouse is a state agency, which is a superior agency to the city, which we not to be technical, but we're a general law city, which means we operate under the general laws of the state. So we're an agency of the state. So they have authority over us. So they can literally come in without any requirements from us and do things like the courthouse. So it becomes more incumbent upon us to be more creative to figure out how do we not let that happen. But it's changed quite a bit, and we're going to do a whole social media campaign this year on this, trying to educate the community, because when these things pop up, we get a lot of social media comments about how we're not doing our jobs, or the city should do this, city should do that. And the reality is the state has taken virtually all of the control on some of those things away from the city council, and we just don't have the ability to do it.
I think it's really interesting, because I do see that a lot. A misconception of what you can and can't do at the school boards, at the districts, at a city level, city council members. What can we do besides? I know there's items that can be done at the ballot box, but we're not here to have that conversation. We're here to talk about what we can do on a day-to-day basis as community members to just help one another figure out where to get the information, how to stay informed, so that we don't kind of end up in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you just partly said is staying informed. I think that there's a lot of information that comes out. There are a lot of laws that are passed that people have no idea that they're out there. And I think being informed about those, communicating with the legislators is important, so that they do get a balanced inputs, as opposed to some of the other areas that are driving some of this legislation. But I think being involved in it, and I want to balance that with that campaign we're going to do is, even though their state has taken a lot away from us, we still have a lot of things that we do and we do have control over. And so those are the things that we want people to be involved in those as well. I mean, as we're looking at putting together our strategic plan and what the community wants to see in the next 5 to 10 years, we want people being involved and engaged in those types of conversations just as much as we want them to be aware of what's happening at the state level and what they're kind of taking away from us.
Right. I mean, we have to fight for our awesome town, right? That's what we
do, and it's consistent. It's not something it's funny when I get elected to office, and you don't see people anymore. You say, "Well, I need you there to help me." Oh no, we elected you. Go ahead and take care of business. No, you need support from the community to be able to make things happen. We're under the same pressure you're under. A state comes down and says you no longer can do this and you can't do this and you have to change your start dates for the schools. It's like, do you understand? It's not a matter of just moving a clock.
Right.
There's a lot that goes on behind this, and I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
One of the things I love is when you guys annex. We were talking about this earlier. When you annex from the county, and you hear people say, "Why are they spending money doing this?" and "Why are they ripping up?" Well, because the county doesn't hit the standards of the city, and for you to be able to have the functions that you do with the traffic lights and the watering of you've got to go in there and clean it all up. That's a massive undertaking, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'll say, the county is a different group than we are.
Yes.
They have different expectations. They're managing 10.5 million people across how many thousands of square miles. So their ability to focus on any one area is a little bit different than ours. So when we do annex, the standards of development in the county are different than the city. And we could easily annex them and just kind of let it be, but we've always maintained a high standard here where we want every community that comes into the city to feel like they're part of the city. And so that is creating more unique landscaping, more unique signage and things of that nature, so they feel part of the community.
Yeah, I think you do a good job at it. I mean, I'm not just saying it. I'm seriously. I like when things are updated. Everything becomes more centralized. You guys can handle things. I mean, like just the traffic system alone in this town. I got them down now. I got them timed, so I can get here just in time. I know how it works, but I think people don't realize that you have a whole traffic department and an area there at City Hall where they're watching what's going on in and around the city, and they can help make changes pretty quickly. So.
Right. Yes, we do.
So there was some questions a couple years ago about having our own health department, and I didn't know enough about the pros and cons at the time. What would that entail if we wanted to do something like that as a city? I mean, wouldn't that kind of hurt us as well, or?
So when the whole discussion of the health department came out because of COVID, and it was another discussion of local control.
Right.
We had the county health department coming down with these blanket regulations, and where we felt in Santa Clarita, we had kind of unique circumstances, and we operated very differently even with those regulations.
Right.
That being said, so we looked at a health department to see what that would cost, what the benefits would be. Extremely, extremely expensive. There's not a lot of funding sources that come with it. And you do get some control, but at the end of the day, state health department still trumps local health departments. And we looked at it. I think there's like 2 cities in the state or 3 cities in the state that have their own health departments. And the reality is some services like health are more regionally based services. They're not, every city has their own health department. So if you have, 5 cities in a small area and they all have their own health departments, they're all creating their own health regulations. That's not really a good, solid health policy. So regionally, having a larger health department does make sense when I think there's, common sense.
Right.
But
I agree with that.
One of the challenges you have here, though, we had it at the school district when people were saying, we need to consolidate and we need to have a health department or have you go. You've got fingers of the county that come into the city. So we would have schools for the mask mandate. Let's say we did have our own health department, and our health department said, no problem, no masks.
Right.
We may have a school that you didn't have to have masks, a school where you did have to have masks. It would have created a nightmare.
Yeah.
Overall, and I don't think people really understand, like when those houses get approved, we get the emails too, and it's like, how could you possibly allow them to do that? Well, that's the county. That's not. You have to pay attention to.
Yeah, and housing is a big thing that I think that we need to do a better job of educating the people on how housing works. So the state of California has decided that there's a housing crisis, and they are going to require and try to get houses built at all costs. There's no policy common sense to it. It is amazing to see the changes in the discretion that we used to have to build house or to approve housing. Now there are things where people can come in and build 5-6-story apartment buildings in the middle of neighborhoods with little to no city involvement.
Yeah.
And it's moving to the point where that stuff is a developer is going to be able to come in over the counter, present his plans, they're 5 stories, and be like, we have no other option but to sign off on it. And that's the direction the state is going, and that's what people don't understand, is that the state is forcing housing. And because, here in North County, we have land, we are going to be one of those areas that is hit hard by the state policy.
And I feel like we're already seeing it apart from the housing. Like you said, the courthouse, we have, I believe CMEX there was this whole controversy going on and how it's going to impact Santa Clarita. And I really am thankful to have you here to just, you do what you can, right? And the city council does what they can. it really does. I mean, we are a pretty big city, right? We've grown significantly over the last 20 years. So I'd like to say that we do have a voice if we stay informed and we rally the people and do it respectfully and consistently. We can make some kind of a change because we are so large. However, there are things that you get blamed for, that we get blamed for, that there's really nothing we can do about, and we can do even less if you're not doing anything until it's already done.
Absolutely.
Right, as a community member. So I highly encourage everyone to just pay attention, get involved. The city does a lot of great things. We have 40 parks. We have a ton of nonprofit organizations. We're beautiful. We're secure. We have a lot of great things to offer, and we should protect those things by staying informed.
Yeah. And if I could, real quick, I appreciate you saying that. And I think there's, some people have moved in here in the last 5, 10 years, maybe 15 years. The city was created to protect the city. And it was because of things that were happening here that people didn't want. And you look at the history of the things the city has taken on and been successful. Cemex is a great example. We've been fighting with Cemex for 35 years. Just recently, they just lost their appeal at the court. So we're still in the battle with Cemex. It's not over, but we've been fighting it for 35 years. Ellesmere, you were probably around with Ellesmere, was one of the largest dumps in the nation that wanted to be sited right out here in Ellesmere Canyon. The community came together and fought that and won it. Las Lomas, another huge development along the 5 as you're coming into the city. Over 5,000 units, and it would have completely decimated that whole open space area. The community came together and fought it. So it's exactly right. When the community comes together and fights something, our track record has been very, very good.
So one of the first citywide committees I was on was way back when Lorene put together the open space committee, and I got stuck between two characters who weren't quite on the same page politically, and I won't give you their names, but there were she got 35 people in that room together, and to her credit, these were people that wouldn't sit in the same restaurant together. But she couched it in such a fashion where she wanted the open space. She felt like it would slow down some development and give us, more space to run around and have fun in. And she I got to give her credit. She made it work. She wouldn't accept anything less. She made it work, and I think I don't think people realize there's so many things that happen when I'm talking to people saying, "No, you can't blame that on the city," or "Look at what they've done over here." So I think you guys do a great job of getting information out. There's just got to be a better way to get stuff out on. Not that you need to do it, but there's got to be a better way to get stuff out on social media. So parents, I have to do it. And parents understand that, no, what you're hearing is not what the school district is doing. It's what the state's doing. What you're hearing is not what the city's doing. It's what the county or the state is doing. So
I'm really glad to hear that you're going to do an entire social media campaign, because really that's how everyone communicates these days, from the younger generation to, I hate talking like that. I sound so old. But it's so true. And so I appreciate that you guys are doing a social media campaign. Hearing things straight from the horse's mouth, no offense, is so much better and so much easier to digest. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and we may be back on the Daily Buzz just to kind of use this as another forum, and I'll be reaching out to Richard to do editorial boards. So it'll be social media be a big driver of it, but it's also be other media platforms as well.
And what's come up in the past too is the police department, having our own police department. Now, I did some work, and I know that it doesn't always work out for the smaller cities. You actually lose some services, and it becomes very expensive because you can't have all the facilities that the sheriff's department has countywide. You'd have to contract still for some of those services. Right. Very expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, I hear that commonly, is that people say we should have our own police department, and it's like, well, that's not economically feasible. I mean, if you wanted to say the city is going to become a one service provider city, which is all the money we have in our general fund is going to go towards police, then that's about the only way you make that happen. Wow. And so you look at comparatively how much we pay for sheriff services, which is what you said, it's spread out over the county. We have access to every specialized service, helicopters, whatever they have, versus having your own. But I mean, a city like, comparable Glendale pays probably almost 3 times what we pay for police services.
Yeah,
and it's hard to say that they get 3 times better service than we do. The sheriffs do a great job. They're stressed and they're staffing issues right now, but they've always done an amazing job. And the reality is, when something comes up, they send deputies like you've never seen before.
Oh yeah, but some of this though is the support that you give them as a city. They're not constantly being pounded on as being terrible people, and the city supports them. I think that's why I'll bring it up again. The Heart District has a good relationship with the city, and the city has, because we all know what we're doing here. We're trying to keep it safe. We're trying to keep it a great place to live, work, and play. And I think you guys do a great job at it. Seriously.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate so much, and I'm going to take you up on that offer of having you come back and keep us informed. Next time you're here, we would love to hear about all the amazing things that you're planning on doing for 2026.
But if you squelch the roller rink, she will dog you every day.
Oh, you're over.
Oh, no.
You're
She is
over.
so
You
excited.
take my roller rink away, and we're going to have a problem.
It's summer next year. Summer next year. We should
God.
Well, we thank you so much for being here. We are going to go on a break. I'm Martha.
I'm Joe.
You're watching the Daily Buzz. Thank you, Ken, for being here. We'll be right back.